finally made it. Hey you guys, I actually just woke up and I have been having the itch to go thrifting. So I want to take you guys along with me for a thrifting video. Let's see what I can find today. But first, breakfast. So I've been really wanting to thrift for a while, and I thought for my first video on YouTube, this would kind of be something that I'm really passionate about, and I wanted to bring you guys along for that journey. Post-COVID, what I've noticed is that a lot of thrift shops actually don't have fitting rooms any longer, or their fitting rooms are closed. So that kind of forces the customers to have to try things on the sales floor. So my recommendation is wear something that's relatively fitted when you go thrifting if you plan to try stuff on. As you can see, I decided to wear something that's very simple, white jeans and a t-shirt. This way here you can just try things on comfortably. I actually made the mistake one time. I was wearing like a chunky sweater and I didn't have anything underneath, and I went to a thrift store that's like relatively close by, and I was like ducking down. Like I had to like duck down just so that I didn't like scare people away that I was trying on clothes and like bare-chested. So definitely think about those things when you're planning to go to a thrift store that's relatively big, like the department store style thrift store. If it's like a boutique thrift store, something that's really curated, they often have a fitting room area because the pieces are higher price point and they want their customers to have more of an experience. But if you're going to like a Savers or like a Goodwill, Salvation Army, or in my case I went to this place called Urban Renewals, they kind of have been trending in that direction of not having fitting rooms, and it's also probably to like stop people from like stealing stuff. My next piece of advice would probably be to go in with a game plan. And by that I mean like create a loose list of some of the things that your wardrobe is in need of, or some of the things that you have really been like wanting to buy but haven't quite found. This is like the trendier pieces for the season, or something that you've always wanted, something that you're lacking, etc. I create like a little Pinterest board, and this just kind of shows like some of the colors that I'm really into for the season, some other fits that I see from like people on social media, things that I've seen on fashion shows and street style and fashion week that I can pull inspiration for. This actually helps me when I get to the thrift store so that I have a direction and kind of like a game plan and a map of where I'm gonna stay while I'm in the thrift store. Because it could be overwhelming for some people. Like if you're not used to going to a big thrift store that has, you know, all the categories, there could be a lot going on. So if you kind of have a game plan in advance, it'll help you stay on track so you don't get too overwhelmed and it doesn't feel like impossible to get through. So yeah, take like small bites of each section of the thrift store. I've recently been adding things to my Pinterest board, and these are some of the key takeaways from my inspo board. I've been really into wearing more headwear, so I like to do all sorts of different hats, but definitely baseball hats are the vibe right now, and I have a few, but I want some that are a little bit more authentic, that have logos, smaller phrases, things that aren't so mainstream. Because I'm filming this video, it's actually fall, so I'm getting ready for fall winter clothing, and what I've really been interested in is earthy tones, especially brown. Like right now, brown, suede, corduroy, velvet, denim, like all things that are in like that brown family are really trendy right now, and brown works for so many different skin tones. So it's something that I'm definitely on the hunt for because my closet is lacking a lot of brown, and it's a very versatile piece, especially as someone who doesn't wear a lot of black. That could be like the next best option. So I'm on the hunt for brown. I see a lot of burgundy. I feel like burgundy is a hit or miss with me, so it'll be interesting to see if I can find some pieces that are burgundy that I still feel are like fire. I'm definitely on the hunt for like a suede or a leather jacket. I just feel like the texture for like a nice outerwear piece that's in like a brown or a camel is something that I'm missing as well in my wardrobe. So we'll see. I always love signature detailed pieces like jewelry, scarves, and accessories. Accessories are a must, like exclamation point, exclamation point, especially when you're gonna go thrifting. Like you could find like some of the most special accessories, you know, clothing. The top might not always fit, a bottom might not always fit, a jacket, a skirt, etc. But accessories don't have any size, so that's always something that I'm on the hunt for. And you can always take a basic outfit like jeans and a white t-shirt and accessorize the heck out of it and really have something special with a hat, a scarf, some jewelry, and a bag, and shoes, of course. So I'm definitely always looking for accessories. So shiny metal objects, gold tone pieces, texture, that's all kind of stuff that like really intrigues me when I'm like sifting through the thrift store categories. Another element that I've been really into, or another like fashion trend, is like academic pieces. So kind of a mix with like old money but also sporty and academic, varsity style, you know, things that have reference to college core like pieces, but in a elevated way. So things that have logos of like universities or varsity stripes, you know, preppy pieces that could be mixed as streetwear. I've been into like seeing ties mixed with an Oxford shirt and denim. So that's definitely like a vibe that I'm on the hunt for as well. So all in all, go in with a plan, create a slight mood board or a Pinterest board. Super simple. You know, if that's too much work for you, just jot down a couple things, you know, pen and paper, old school, write it on your notes in your phone. Top 5 things, like I need shirts, I need a jacket, I need pants, etc. Notice how like pants weren't on my list because I have way too many pants at the moment. So I'm trying to like completely walk past bottoms and pants section unless if something really sticks out to me. I just don't have space for that, you know, that category in my wardrobe right now. And like I said, I love thrifting, and it's been a minute since I've gone thrifting. So this being my first YouTube video, I definitely wanted to like take you guys along that journey and challenge myself to make a video doing something that I love so that it would feel like effortless, you know? So I did a little research, and I found a place in Roslindale, Massachusetts called Urban Renewals. This is kind of where I set my location for the day.
Shared with bus connections, the commuter rail, and Amtrak. And last stop, Forest Hill.
Once I got off the train, I had a little bit of a walk, which was nice because it was such a beautiful day in the neighborhood. But had it been a little bit colder, I definitely would have had to take an Uber or Lyft because it was a little bit of a hike. The neighborhood was beautiful though, so I didn't mind the walk as much. So after a hop, skip, and a jump, I finally made it. Let's see what it's given inside. Once I arrived, I was actually surprised at like how big and how clean the space was, because sometimes what I've noticed is bigger thrift stores, they tend to look big on the outside, but a good majority of the square footage of the actual store is the stock room or the back room. So when you get inside, the actual sales floor is a little bit smaller than what you anticipated. So it was actually really big inside and pretty clean. So I started at the men's shirts, like the men's button-down shirts, just because this was my first time filming a video like this, and I was so excited, and that was literally the first thing. As soon as you walk in the door, it was like right there. So I just kind of started, but then I realized that my criteria was not necessarily for men's short sleeve button-down shirts. So I quickly reassessed and continued my search into the women's category of tops, because that's where I find usually the best prints as well as the best textures too. Right next to the tops, I actually they had a nice setup of hats. So I did a quick scan and I noticed this hat. which was from like a local convenience store in Vermont, which was really cool. It was authentic, the colors that I love. But it was getting kind of hectic in that area. You know, there was like a baby crying. There was workers with rolling racks back and forth, people with like things piling out of their carriages. So I want to also emphasize another tip. Don't forget to like revisit a section that's on your list multiple times while you're at the thrift store. I started at the hats early on in my adventure, and then I left. I went to go do some other things, and I came back to the hat section, and I actually found this gem, which was so fun, which I didn't see the first time. So you just kind of get a different perspective. I just love this. Like, I love the denim, I love the text, and casual businesswoman, like hashtag God is a woman. Like, yeah. I'm definitely gonna feel like the ultimate feminist wearing this hat, and I just feel like it's such a vibe. So I'm glad that I revisited the section, and I did this a couple times where like I took a glance at some of the handbags and accessories, and then it would get kind of busy, and then I like went to another section, and then I came back. Because you have to also think, like, workers, they're putting new products onto these sections constantly, and some of the shoppers, they might be putting stuff back too that they aren't necessarily taking. Definitely keep your eyes out and revisit a section twice that's on your list. Along their back wall, they actually had like all of their handbag selection. My first glance, it was very light, but there was a lack of product and also a lack of special pieces. Like, a lot of the pieces were just kind of like thrown in. I did see this woven white handbag, but it was pretty dirty, so I passed it up. And I also saw this really cool Amelia Earhart traveling tote situation. I love the colors, I love the stripes. It just definitely, like, it was a part of that utilitarian vibe, which I definitely love, but it was just kind of beat up. It looked a little too dirty, and the construction wasn't the best, so I also left that behind. I even saw this cool brown briefcase, which I thought would be like such a good like old money reference, like player, you know, New York City vibe. But it had this like cassette cartridges on the interior for 90s cassettes, and it didn't have the interior design for what I would need. And the material was like this like pretty cheap faux leather. So I just kind of passed that up as well. Usually I make out well at the belt section. I think belts are like a pretty versatile thing. You could use them as to accessorize bags. You could use them for jackets. You could definitely use them as belts. So I saw this one, this like trench coat belt, and I considered getting it, but it barely fit. So I just kind of left it. I didn't want to like make something work that wasn't really going to work. I did find this cool set of 3 bandanas. Came with 2 red and a purple color, and I don't have either colors. I feel like bandanas are a solid vibe, especially like around the neck or on like a bag as well. So I got those. One of the things that was on my list was suede or like a leather outerwear piece, and I did end up finding this suede piece, but after looking at it, I realized like it wasn't gonna fit, so I didn't even bother to try it on. Like, I'm relatively good at analyzing what could fit and what wouldn't fit me, and this would have been like just a little bit too tight. But I did find this Sherpa, which I thought was such a vibe. When you're searching through the racks, look for color first as you're scanning through, and second, any type of print within that color, and third, texture. So those are like my top things. So if I'm looking at blouses or tops or jackets, I'll start with like, ooh, I like this color. Then what do I think about the print, the texture? Actually look at the piece. Is it gonna be the right size? Is it gonna work? Does it have any, you know, is there anything wrong with it? Is it ripped, dirty, etc.? But going through the tops, I found a couple pieces that actually worked for what I was looking for regarding a color story and a theme. One thing that I don't have in my closet is a lot of band tees or logo t-shirts, which I think work so fun for just like a casual street vibe, and you could just layer something over it. So I ended up sifting through the gray t-shirt area, and I ended up landing on this cool Canton lacrosse t-shirt, which I thought was in that academic world. The colors were everything that I was looking for, and I definitely love green. I even came across this. I was like, oh, is this like a Wicked moment? Should I put this in the carriage for like the Wicked premiere? it was just a little too specific and I didn't think I was going to get much other use out of it. So I ultimately left it behind. And then I was scanning through the red selection and I loved this print. I thought it was everything. Like the cream with the backgrounds and the red, this bright red flower situation, but they had breast darts on it, which is sewn in to accommodate volume, which ends up making like a puckering because I obviously don't have breasts. So I ended up leaving that one behind because it wasn't gonna fit the way I wanted, but it was beautiful. You definitely have to like open up the racks and go through each piece individually. I'm definitely trying to take advantage of looking at each piece. I knew that this was a color family that usually could work for me, and I just wanted to see kind of what was in that selection. I have so many pants, so I really wasn't on the hunt for pants, but one thing that I am missing from my collection that I've been on the hunt for is like a heather gray or a charcoal pleated pant. So I was kind of sifting through quickly and I came across these, which had some nice pleats on them. The length looked nice. I ended up taking these home and they're pretty solid. So I love a fun piece, like something that's like unique, special, a conversation starter. So I actually saw these. They remind me of that episode of SpongeBob where he's in a marching band and they're like yeah, they were way too big, so I left them behind, but they were definitely cool. Also, I love glassware. There's always so many fun little pieces that you can find in the glassware section. Actually, the glassware section was color coordinated, which is very nice on the brain.
No.
And then once I got to the checkout line, they kind of had all of their accessories, jewelry, and like glass cases that led up to the cash register. It was pretty hectic at that point. There was a lot of people getting in line and I was getting a little overwhelmed, but I found some really cool pieces. I definitely scored in the sunglass section. So they had like a bin of sunglasses behind the cash wrap. So I was actually sifting through that, like looking, and I found some like really good pieces. How cute are these? $1.99. I found these Ray-Bans, like, hello? And they're polarized? What? $7.99 for Ray-Bans. I'll take them. Found these, which are so cool. I cannot wait to style these. Like, barely a little sunglass. Barely. These were kind of the winner of the jackpot. These were like $3.99 and they're called Serengeti drivers. It's actual glass lenses, so you can tell that they're like good quality. They look like Cartier or something, so I was extremely excited about this find. So cannot wait to style those. All in all, I think that it was a successful thrift trip. Thank you guys for coming along with me. Until the next time, peace.